Welcome to number 3 of architecture and quarantine. One of the interesting aspects of isolation, whether self-inflicted or forced, and that ramifies into how one could use health as a strategy to perhaps undermine some of our basic rights or even democracy, is how perhaps the social and psychological aspects impact us greatly. On that effect, in the MAP publication, which I focus on quarantine, I created a project that started to dwell on the domestic aspects of distancing from our family members. That's one of the greatest difficulties nowadays. We experience it with the COVID-19 isolation, not being able to be close to members of our families that perhaps are sick. In this project, I speculate what we've had a autonomous isolation system, which was a domestic one that we could literally have in the house and plug in and be contained to avoid contaminating our family members, but at the same time have the emotional support of their presence. Hence, this bubble that can grow with time allows you not only to be in your bedroom perhaps, but to receive food through a zipper system, to be able to hug your family members because there are gloves incorporated, and even perhaps grow through the house to be able to come out into the balcony and perhaps into the living room, play some chess, sit in the sofa, as this tubular system, an elastic, inflatable device, was able to contain you as an individual, but at the same time allowed you to partake in the rituals of the domestic life. Interestingly enough, and that happens not only today, but in the past, some family members in the end decide, the hell with it. We would rather be contaminated than have distancing to our family members. So I incorporated a release zipper where both the contained and the family members have to use at the same time to be able to release the individual from its isolation and perhaps also the contagions. There are other projects that I made in this publication. One has to do with, at the time, the mad cow disease and the vertical cow farm that was able to contain its pollutants through a moat and a system of emergency devices that could cordon and shut down the production and the animals, all the way to a ship that was able to carry books that were contaminated. This happens perhaps with polio that can linger for many months in different types of materials, but played also on the idea of the forbidden book and books that have been prohibited as a containment of prohibitions, as a containment of viruses and of secrets. This ship, reminiscent of the old times vessels that were to be quarantined, would travel around the world, collecting, in essence, the prohibited, contaminated, and virus spreading, both sociologically speaking and physiologically speaking, in this kind of vessel.